Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It's a new week, so that means we're on to a new theme, and, well, normally we would be doing special selections in an attempt to get through that list, but that list has gotten through. So instead, I'm going to take the first week of every month to explore things that I want to explore. And until I find a better name for it, I had one, but I'm going to repurpose it. We're going to call this Bryan's Choice Week. And so Bryan's Choice today, we're going to be checking out some Spiritbox. They just had a new one come out a couple days ago called Circle With Me, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So, buckle up, let's get in. We've checked out Spiritbox a couple of times in the past. I'm excited to see what they're doing now. Alright, a very interesting mix between pop and metal. Not as playful with the time though. That bass just laying down on the bottom though. There's something very poppy going on here. This could all be yours. Same here. I think it's the vocal production actually. Yeah, there's a very pop fingerprint going on in the vocal engineering. And I like it. I do. I think it meshes well with the harsher tones. That bass though, just holding the bottom, I'm loving it. It's simple but effective. I also think there's some pop inspiration in the melody line written for the vocals. Alright, we got a synthy bridge coming on. Or not. Alright, seeing some older Spiritbox inspirations here. Yeah, so the heavy rhythmic presence, the dissonant guitar tones. I like how the guitar is doing a bit of counterpoint there with a synth doing more of the chordal work. All right. So that's I trying to wrap my head around that one. We've checked out the Mara Effect, and I know I've listened to Rule of Nines, but I don't know if we did that one on the channel or if I checked that out on my own time. Um, this is a stark departure, I would say. Even though on the surface it kind of doesn't feel like it, they have the softer, gentler, more atmospheric work and juxtaposed that with their heavier, more metal based elements with the harsh vocals. That I would say is a staple of Spiritbox, at least what I've checked out so far. But where I would say that this differs is in the production and composition, the way that the song unfolds and each of the sections and maybe what their inspirations are. And I mainly want to look at this song through the lens of pop and pop rock. I feel like those are where the biggest inspirations come from. And I actually think it's really neat to hear that element being combined with metal. Um, and I think where we hear this most strongly is in the verse and the intro to the bridge. I think those are the two poppiest elements. The chorus definitely had some pop stuff going on with it, especially in the vocal aspect, but it was also kind of leaning a little more into rock and rock adjacent genre writing. So yeah, if I end up coming around to that, it'll be a little bit later. But right now I really want to focus on the other two aspects. The verse is very pop inspired. Um, the sparse atmospheric work going on in the instrumentation is very reminiscent of how pop uses electronica. And I think it's interesting to hear how they translated digital instrument work to guitars, guitars and bass, and sort of how the drums dial it back a little bit too. Um, so it creates a softer, more palatable floor work than we've heard before. And one of the things that really stands out to me that is different this time than especially with stuff like Rule of Nines is the playfulness of the rhythmic qualities. In Rule of Nines, we start off with uh, when the verse kicks in, we have the vocalist with a very soft vocal style, very airy, sort of pop adjacent, going for that vulnerability feel in there. And the drums, if I remember right, uh, they were sparse, but not lacking presence. I think it was just a snare and a cymbal, but the cymbal was doing a strong triplet feel. They were employing like a 3 against 4 polyrhythm, and it was very disorienting. Sorry. And if we look back to the Mara effect, there were quite a few moments when the rhythmic aspect of the songs began to get very playful with polymeters and changing up the time feel of a track, not necessarily changing the time signature. So it's interesting to come around to this song with those two examples being what I've come to understand Spiritbox being, and having a song that's fairly straightforward in 4/4. There isn't really any rhythmic trickery. There's no interesting accents. There isn't any real backbeat or offbeat playing. It's just very straightforwardly written. And I don't know, part of me really wants to look at it as a way of showing range of the band. I don't know if this is necessarily the direction that they're wanting to go with their music, or if maybe this is just them showing, hey, this is another facet of us. This is music we enjoy as well. This is music we also enjoy writing. So I'm not going to make any wide sweeping opinions or guesses about who they are as a band and who they are as composers and musicians right now. I'm simply pointing it out that I've come to kind of notice that they do a lot of polymeter work, and it did not show up at all in this track. Um, so that is one way that I feel like they created a more palatable sound. And then the other is sort of just simplifying things, especially with, I would say, mostly pertaining to the drum work. And a lot of that is just going to be the reduction of polymeter, but the drumming was also a bit more straightforward. And it makes me think that maybe they have more of an emphasis on the lyrics. Maybe this song is important. We looked at this yesterday about bands who reduce the friction to listening to the vocalist. If a song is extremely important, maybe to whoever wrote the lyrics, um, or they just want the lyrics to be heard for whatever reason, you want to make sure that a listener hears the words, and the best way to do that is mix and composition. You mix it so that the vocals are easy to tune into, and you create a song where the instruments don't try to take over the spotlight. And a lot of that happens here. The only time the instruments really come in hard, both mix-wise and composition, is usually when the vocalist is not singing. It's definitely, at least to me, it feels like a conscious decision to ensure that the vocals are heard. Now, as I've said before, I am not someone who is very strong at poetic analysis, at least not on the fly, not as quick as I am at picking up and analyzing music. I didn't get a chance to check out the lyrics, so I'm not going to dive into that. I don't know if the lyrics were exceptionally deep, but given some of the metaphors and concepts that I've had explained to me about Mara effect and rule of nines, I'm going to wager that the lead singer, the lyricist, is once again just dropping a very deep bomb of lyrics. There's always a lot of depth to her metaphors and what she writes about, so I'm just going to benefit of the doubt here and assume that the lyrics uh, are very personal and powerful, and that's the reason why they're given so much spotlight that they are. Moving into the pre-bridge, we had this nice synthy part. It really ramped the energy back down. It's the quietest, most atmospheric part of the song, and I really figured we were going to go for a pop-oriented breakdown. Like when we checked out, I think Churches. When we checked out Churches, that's sort of the atmospheric electronica breakdown bridge section that I thought we were going to enter here. Another pop staple and another cool way to integrate pop into some of their more metal and rock oriented writing here. And they pulled the rug out from under me and went into more of a traditional metalcore, whatever, a heavier bridge with um, more prominent guitar and drum and bass work, more rhythmic complexity, um, and of course the harsh vocals, which added more rhythmic elements by reducing some of the melodic elements in the track. So yeah, it was a nice little bait and switch there. I appreciate that. I've said before, I love novelty. I know it wears off after a few listens, but still, the best songs are the ones that grab you the first time. People always say, I wish I could hear that song, for my first time again. That's because of that novelty. The song hasn't changed. You have, and you've changed because you've heard it. The novelty is worn off. You want the novelty back. I love novel. I'm not ashamed to say that. I love novelty. I love gimmicks. They're fantastic for first listens. Just I don't know why people hate novelty. I don't know. It's such a good technique for writing. Anyways, a bit of a tangent there. Let's see. The chorus. All right, I'm gonna wrap back around to the chorus. I do enjoy the chorus. I think it is a nice selection of pop rock ideas and pop vocal aesthetics that really comes together for a memorable chorus. It has a fantastic hook. It's catchy. There's a nice guitar floor under it. It's just really well done, and I enjoy that. However, I don't really feel that there was anything that sort of stamped the Spirit Box ness onto it, and not every song needs to be unapologetically Spiritbox or any band. You can always explore other avenues. But I kind of wish that there was a little bit more of that rhythmic playfulness and mix between, you know what I think it is? Maybe the unsettlingness. Rule of Nines and Mara Effect both played around a lot with tension, right? I'm kind of like processing this as I go, so bear with me for a second. They played around with a lot of tension, not just tension within notes, not just with dissonance or tension in chord progressions or with misdirection of chords or with lack of resolution in chords, but also tension atmospherically and tension in time. I already mentioned the polymeter, but they really tended to push hard with interesting polymeter that really made the time feel limitless. There were a couple of sections that really felt like the time was not present or had changed, and then we find out in a few bars when some other element or instrument comes in to play, oh, we never changed time signatures. That part just went into a new time feel, and it's this push and pull in time. There's just tension everywhere in these songs, and maybe I just happen to have listened to two of their more tense tracks, the ones that try to make the listener feel uncomfortable in one way or another. But this one was kind of lacking that, and I think I miss it. Oddly enough, it's a safe song. Not that there's anything wrong with writing a safe song. Like I said, if their plan was to go out and write a catchy, poppy song with a fantastic hook that people are going to get stuck in their head, but also incorporate a bit of their screams and heavy metal aspects, well, they did it. They nailed it 100%. I think this, like I said before, I think this is a really good combination of pop and pop rock and metal, and kind of merging all three of those into, a track. I just feel like it's weird because what I want to say is that I feel like there's a little bit less experimentation than I would expect, but it's just a different kind of experimentation. And I think the what I expect part is key because they are still experimenting, right? They're not experimenting with pushing time or pushing tension or pushing storytelling like with Mara Effect being a three-part track. They're pushing genre conventions, and they're pushing a genre that is known for being heavy and obtuse occasionally, and the opposite of that, a highly palatable, highly simple, well, typically simple genre, and smashing those two together. So yes, the end result is going to be a song that is on some levels slightly easier to listen to or slightly less complex, less complicated than they've written in the past. But I don't think that erases the depth. And that's kind of the part that I need to come around to, is that as a first time listen on a casual part, I'm missing some of the complexity. I feel like they went backwards where they were pushing the envelope. Now they're coming back to it. But when I think about it analytically, they are still experimenting. They are still pushing the boundaries. It's just in ways that I don't typically think about boundaries being pushed. So on a casual listen, it feels like they've regressed, but on a mental, analytical, critical level, I can see that they're pushing forward, and I do hope that this is a step in the next direction. I really want to see this concept of pop metal evolve and mature a bit. I think this is a fantastic entry point to that. But like I said, it gave up some of the compositional complexity that I've come to expect from them, that I think they do a fantastic job at. And I'm not saying every song needs to be hyper complex, and it could be that this song is just one of the easier ones that they've written as far as rhythmic and melodic complexity. But the rest of the album could be absolute masterpieces of precision musicianship. Um, there's no reason to judge a band on a single song. There's always the context of other releases, other things on the album. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna take this at face value that this is not necessarily where they hope to end up, and this is a step on their journey, and I look forward to seeing where they go with it, because like I said, I do think the idea of pop metal is something we need to see more of, and I am more than happy to hear Spiritbox lead that journey and see where it takes them. So, those are my thoughts on Spiritbox's Circle with Me. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you enjoyed about it, what you might have missed. Any huge Spiritbox fans, been there from the beginning, listen to every song. What are your thoughts on this one? If you look above the comment section, there's a description box with some links in there: Twitter, Patreon, Discord, bunch of them. I'm sure you'll find something that might interest you under that. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, with another song. I don't know what I'm kind of just winging it. With the themes, I usually know what 5 songs I'm picking for the week, so that's kind of cool. I don't know the songs themselves, but at least I know the titles and the bands. But here I'm just kind of, hey, it's time to record. What am I doing? Anything new on YouTube? Anything new in my inbox? Oh, yeah, there's that track that's been requested a lot. So, yeah, I'm kind of winging it. It's interesting. Just kind of improvising as I go. So I don't know what song we're doing tomorrow, but it's going to be my choice, so it's going to be good. I hope. um, Anyways, until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.